I'll forgive him for Halloween 2. I might even forgive him for Lords of Salem. Go to last year's film panel when we were talking about the Munsters. And I continue to shit all over it. And I said, why does Rob Zombie continue to cast the same people in all his movies? Fam, I don't think I'll ever question that again. So, I watched the Munsters. Or I should say, I finished watching the Munsters. My internet actually got blown out by the hurricane a couple days ago when I started the Munsters. But I was able to finish earlier today, and I gotta say this. It was a good movie. Regardless of who the director is. When I first sat down to watch this movie, I took into account that this is a PG movie. I took into account that I completely shat on this trailer months ago when it came out, and I said, this looks like complete dog shit. I said that. Yeah, that was me. But I knew I was going to sit down and at least give this a little bit of my attention. And I got to say, I was thoroughly entertained throughout the movie. Was I going to be expecting some, superb storyline? No. Was I going to be expecting some deep, serious subject? No. I know what kind of director Rob Zombie is. To be honest, I was not even expecting this from Rob Zombie. This movie was all over the place. Don't get me wrong. One minute you're trying to show the origin story of Herman. The next minute he's trying to become an actor in Hollywood. Like, it's all over the place. So it may have been the cinematography with this movie, or it may have been the jokes, because the jokes there were no adult jokes, there were no whatever. It's just normal, simple, like, I guess, dad jokes. There were no laugh out loud moments for me with this movie. I will say that. You could take that for what it is. You could say whether that's a pro or a con with this movie, because I still found this movie funny while also not really laughing out loud. It got a little too campy at times, and I felt like the movie was a little too long. So I guess maybe number one kind of bled into con number two, which being that the movie was too long. There were times where I can't say I was ever out of the movie, but there were times where I was like, why am I watching this again? Kind of feeling, just because it got they try to be a little too funny, and a little too weird and stuff. But again, what do you expect from a PG movie? It's not like it was PG-13. It's not like it was definitely not R or anything like that. It's for pretty much all audiences. So I can only be so critical of it. At the end of the day, we're still talking about the Munsters. I could see, and I said this back when we were doing the film panel, when we were talking about this, when this first got announced. Like, I could see if this was a full-on horror. If Rob Zombie did what Rob Zombie does, is remaking horror. You know what I mean? He did it with Halloween. Rob Zombie has done a phenomenal job as a movie director. As a guy that has pretty much stuck with only horror, phenomenal job. I'm still waiting for him to get his hands on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One more gripe that I have with this movie is that it should have been a show. It should have been a series. Now, I know this wasn't a Netflix original. I know that Netflix just picked it up and distributed it, whatever, and released it. But at the same time, I feel like Rob Zombie could have gotten a better, because you can't really do a Munsters movie. So I don't really know if that's necessarily a gripe, or I don't know if that's necessarily a con for a movie, because it's, at the end of the day, a movie. I can't say this shouldn't have been a movie, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't have been a movie. Like, this should have been a series. I feel like it would be better digested. I feel like people would be able to understand it more, because trying to fit all of this into literally 2 hours, this movie is almost damn near 2 hours, which I was very surprised. But I mean, it is a Rob Zombie movie, so Rob Zombie movies pretty much go pretty damn long. I like longer horror movies. If you keep the horror inside the whole horror movie, I like a long horror movie, okay? This, not so much, because, it's a, horror comedy, or I guess a dark comedy. I don't know what the fuck they call these things, but I grew up as an Addams Family kid. I was more of an Addams Family guy growing up. I never really touched Munsters. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've watched anything with Munsters in it. Addams Family, all day. Munsters, not so much, man. But I was going to watch this because, one, it's damn near October, guys. Come on. And two, it's Rob Zombie. What else can you ask for, man? I mean, this dropped at the right time, even though it technically dropped in September, to start getting everybody into the mood for Halloween. Now, if this dropped in October, I'd be like, whatever. I cannot lie. When I got halfway through this movie, which again, this movie's 2 hours long, so when I got halfway through it, I did look at my phone and I was like, do I want to finish this? Once I put my eyeballs back on the screen, I couldn't get them off, man. I liked it, man. It was good. So I'd probably give this movie a 7 out of 10 if I had to give this movie a rating. I'll forgive him for Halloween 2. I might even forgive him for Lords of Salem. Go to last year's film panel when we were talking about the Munsters coming out, when this was announced. And I continued to shit all over it, and I said, why does Rob Zombie continue to cast the same people in all his movies?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that was going to be like the first thing he does. It's like, hey, look, she's going to be the mom. This has to be a horror. I mean, have you seen Sheri Moon Zombie do anything other than horror? But I look, man, Rob Zombie doing Munsters. I'm excited. Obviously, I'm a bit apprehensive because, again, we don't know what kind of genre this is going to be. I have a good hunch that it's going to be horror. It's just a million things running through my mind of like, what's it even going to be about? Like, how are you going to make a Munsters movie in this day and age? And with you being Rob Zombie, like through the mind of Rob Zombie, what is that going to look like? You know what I mean? Like, what exactly? Like, are you looking at this crazy ass hillbilly family that just happens to be monsters, or are we going to be looking at a different kind of? And again,
fam, I don't think I'll ever question that again. Because Sheri Moon Zombie, out of all the roles that she has played, this one is the one for her. She was great in this one. Daniel Roebuck, great in this one. Jeffrey Daniel Phillips, great in this one. Richard Brake, great in this one. The cast was great. Look, trust me, I went into this movie wanting to hate it. This is why I'm doing a video on this. I don't really do movie reviews as much as I would like to anymore. But I'm telling you guys, smoke some of that good shit if you have to. Maybe take a tab or two. Get drunk if that's what you do. I don't care. What I'm saying is sit down and have a good time with this movie. Just let loose and just have fun with the movie. It's a PG movie done by Rob Zombie, and it's got some pretty cool visuals in it. It's campy, yes. It's goofy, yes. There's a storyline, sloppy, yes. But Rob Zombie made another good film. He did. There's a reason why Rob Zombie continues to get these IPs. Because they know that we love them. Now, I have no connection to Munsters. But man, did this movie that should have been made a series make me want to now go back and watch a couple of episodes of the old Munsters? Yeah. You sit down and you just have fun with it, man. And and maybe that's just because there's no pseudo messaging in there. There's no, weird propaganda bullshit in there. It's just a good old fashioned, fun, spooky comedy. And I enjoyed it. But anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think. Hit that like and subscribe. You already know it's your boy Corn. It's Half-Ass Pod, and I am OUT.